Another day, another podcast.
I think it's another day, another dollar.
Yeah, exactly. You can see Central House is there, but if you want to mirror it, which I'll do right now, it says Central House. Let's get into it.
Welcome to the Creative and Code podcast.
Welcome to the internet, my friend.
Brought to you by ID Digital Agency.
Kind of a big deal.
Dive into the dynamic world of digital marketing, creative design, and coding with top experts, latest trends, and actionable insights. Let's get inspired and innovate together.
It's showtime.
Welcome to Creative and Code, a podcast by ID Digital Agency.
That was so good. I don't think I could have done it
What
better.
can I say?
My name is Jay, and this is...
Emily.
And we are your hosts. Hope you're enjoying your week. Today is Wednesday.
Wednesday, but it's
Hump day.
technically Thursday because Friday's a public holiday.
Yes.
Which means tomorrow is Friday.
Yes, and we'll try and release this tomorrow. I'll hopefully be able to after my sauna session tonight. I haven't had a
Nice.
sauna for 2 weeks because my mate Dazzler,
I'm sorry, his name is Dazzler.
Derek, he's the Dazzler.
Look.
He's got a sauna at his place. We catch up every week, every Wednesday, and we have secret sauna sessions on Sundays if we can
What is this?
get it in there.
What is secret compared to a
Because
regular
not everybody in the group chat knows about the secret sauna
sauna?
sessions
So you're
on a
excluding
Sunday.
people?
Well, it's just...
God.
it's
Well, they're
for
going to
the-
know now.
It's the diehard people that can go over
Yikes.
95 degrees in the sauna for about 20 minutes, jump
true.
out, jump in his pool, come back in, 15-minute session, jump out.
I will say
It's,
you are ready for global warming. That's one
Yeah.
positive.
Heat up, cool down, heat up.
You're ready for it.
Yeah.
So you,
Well, sauna benefits are through the roof. Joe Rogan talks about it, so it must be good.
Look, we'll move past that.
It's cut. Cut down.
I can't hold it in.
Who's our guest today?
Diego, who is a member of our team, the first member of our team to agree to go on the podcast.
Yeah. Well, you're on it.
Well, yeah, but I feel like we've put the feelers out for the rest of them, and Diego is, I feel like, usually the one that will agree first out of everybody. So it's not a surprise that he's the first to come. But yeah, some insightful conversation.
Him being our lead front-end developer, and he's been with us for 4 years, and he does, front-end coding of websites, mobile applications. What else? He does testing. There's a bunch of stuff that he does, but it's mostly all that front-end fun stuff. Yeah.
Front end.
Yeah. Not the WordPress stuff that you know.
Yeah, that's... Look, I don't know what front end, back end is. This is the kind of thing maybe we need to define.
Well, that's the
people-
creative and the code, isn't it? Creative being the design and...
Because I'm not sure, as a marketer, that I would ever know this unless I was in this agency surrounded by devs.
Because where you were
Because I don't know what it
before,
is.
you didn't have coders
No,
and things, did you?
I've never even met a web developer prior to.
But it's
ID
broadened your
Digital.
horizons, you
Well,
would
that's
say?
the thing. And sometimes I talk to clients, and I kind of talk about, like, if we have a front end dev working on a project that I'm involved in, like, they don't understand why they can't do back end stuff. Like, people seem to be quite confused by the concept, which, yeah, of course I totally get because I was also confused.
We should
So-
define that. I think an upcoming episode.
Yeah.
We might
What
do
is
the
the
clash of the
difference?
front versus the back.
Whoa.
That might be good, couldn't it?
Yeah.
So maybe we can get Arnell has committed to
Arnell,
the podcast in a couple of weeks. Another guy, which is a back-end developer who, he's great. He's from the Philippines and he's living the dream over here in Australia. Maybe who would he clash with? Who do you reckon? Not clash in a bad way, but who
Who would he fight?
debate front or back?
Maybe,
Maybe Abbas?
yeah. I'm not sure. I don't know who's more passionate about front end development.
Well, they're both on the same project at the moment
Oh,
too.
are they?
For domainnames.com.au, we're reinvigorating that platform. So maybe, we'll hear
We'll have to
how they're
see.
doing what they're
Yeah.
doing.
I'm not sure, who's...
We'll find out if Abbas
who's
is willing.
invested.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Let's get into the news.
Good news, everyone.
Uh-oh, I don't like the sound of that.
You got any news, Emily?
I have no news.
No news. What about P. Diddy?
I mean, is that really a podcast discussion topic?
It's social.
I
Have you
mean-
noticed as well? Like, I don't know if Usher, all his posts are gone.
Yeah, he deleted all his tweets.
Yeah, there was someone else that did the same thing.
It was like Christina Aguilera or someone who was
Someone
like...
random.
who was managed by the same person. Yeah, a lot of nasty stuff's coming out. Poor Justin Bieber's in the middle of it
Yeah,
too.
I've noticed all the videos have been coming out of when he was young with Usher and
It's really horrible.
yeah.
Yeah, it's not a pleasant thing.
What do you think of that from a marketing social point of view about how people are posting all these things out there that there's this cancel culture coming out that they go all the way back through your posts, find something you said 10 years ago.
It can be very controversial. I do believe in the concept of change. Like, I don't like when people they tweeted this random vaguely racist thing when they were 14. But it's people can grow and change. That's fine as long as they've shown
and society grows and
progress.
changes.
Exactly, that's it. And I think there's extremes to it that people go to, but certainly with things like this, it's becoming much more obvious that there were signs that shit was going wrong with Diddy or whatever, and no one raised the red flag. But certainly I think, broadly, it also depends on who's doing it, because I feel like most of the cancelling that gets happened that is stupid stuff like that. If they tweeted something weird 15 years ago, is 14-year-olds saying that who don't actually understand the concept of growing and changing because they're barely, they're a child. So.
And the same thing goes for businesses too. They might put posts out and they've got an opinion on something that comes back to them 10 years from now.
I mean, it's just trying to be on the right side of things. I mean, just thinking especially with the bank, where we do a lot of marketing things with them, because they're quite committed to sustainability and they're a B Corp, there is some things obviously that go up on socials and that are focused on sustainability and, kind of global warming and that kind of area of just supporting the environment, things like that. And there have been some commenters who kind of come in and they're stop spouting this global warming stuff, it's not real, things like that. And it's you kind of know that you're on the right side of it, being we're helping the environment, but then these people are trying to attack you for it. It's kind of a hard line to walk, that you're never going to please everybody on the internet, and you have to just kind of make sure you stand by what you're saying.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better. I mean, and I think back then as well, or whatever you say, it is an opinion. Unless you say this is a statement and this is what I believe in, I think everyone's entitled to an opinion, which also means that you are hopefully up for an understanding, or you're willing to be your thoughts or what you believe in can change because of your situation, your environment, your upbringing. It could be a whole range of different stuff. And that's happened to me. The things that I used to say without really thinking about it, I now know could have been, it could be personal to some people. And you do change the way that you say things to a point where now I don't even think about it. I think it's just understanding that.
Just building into society, and that's, progress and change, and that's how the entire of society's worked forever, is that different things are acceptable now than they were a long time ago. So, I think the internet just adds a weird layer to all of it, in that there's history of everything you've ever done and said, and it's a weird one that I think we're still navigating because it's so new still.
Exactly. And when you see something like that, this P. Diddy stuff, and I know it's been kind of percolating for a while, no one's really heard from him yet. And he's
in prison.
Yeah, I get it. But no, he's going to have court, and he'll obviously have a moment where he can voice it, but we really haven't heard from him yet. And it's all this buzz and it's all this chit chat, and what do you make sense of it?
I feel like certainly with something like this, it's kind of more cut and dry a little bit. I'm just thinking it's something more a couple of years ago when Armie Hammer had all those allegations that he was a cannibal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that was maybe one that was more defensible because he didn't go into custody. There wasn't any charges. It was more just there was leaks. There was some people who'd kind of said this was my experience, and then it kind of snowballed into this he's a cannibal. I feel like that's a more situation where you're kind of what's actually the truth and what's where, and then he wasn't found guilty of anything, which, is neither here nor there. But it's kind of with P. Diddy, it's more he's a criminal. Whereas with Armie Hammer, you're well, is it a crime to say weird stuff to girls on the internet and then have it be exposed?
I think these days too, you have to be speculative, if that's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
That don't believe in anything that you see online. Online's
that's the thing.
Pretty
so
bonkers until
now.
you actually see that he's been put in cuffs. He went to New York. He was ready to be put into jail and all that kind of stuff. That you can believe in. But if there's people that are just attacking people for just saying something 10, 15 years ago, give them an opportunity to say, look, what I said back then was in a different context. It was a different time.
Yeah.
I don't believe in it anymore. I think that's enough. I remember seeing Snoop Dogg. There was a reporter that said, 10, 15 years ago, you were calling all these women bad names and stuff in your music and everything. It was a whole different circumstance, a different situation, different culture. we grow, we evolve.
That's the thing.
Hopefully in a positive
And
way.
a lot of people who make these criticisms weren't actually alive or even on the internet back then. So it's, it's the kind of thing. I mean, especially coming from my perspective is like I've been very much like a teenage girl on the internet, and you're in those fandoms and you're the one who's in there going, how dare you say that? But,
You've done that?
Well, yeah, like when you're like a 14-year-old girl, that's what you do. Like you're on the internet, you're on Twitter, you're like, in the One Direction fandom.
And is it because you feel a part of it? You're like,
and it's like you feel like you're the moral high ground, and then you grow up and you're like, oh my god, like
what was I doing
bro?
there?
Like I knew nothing, and I had no like sense of like circumstance or like understanding that people grow and change, because when you're 14 you just don't know. So very much, it's something that I understand why they are the way they are, but then you just know that in 10 years they're going to be like, man, like I ruined that person's life for no reason.
Yeah,
like,
and I think you just need to realise sometimes too, not you, but people need to realise that humans do crack.
Yeah.
They do say things, and if you give them the opportunity to understand it, redeem it and move on.
And that's the thing. It's the current generation. It's the internet. Like, we've never dealt with this before, so no one knows how to deal with it, So who knows? In 20 years when we have something completely different social networks, different whatever, and social currency or something like they have in China, and everything you've ever said is like haunting you, and who knows what it'll be. It'll be a whole different ball game.
Exactly.
But anyway.
One more thing I wanted to talk about too was about 2 or 3 weeks ago, you and the team, except for me, went and saw Annalise McCarthy.
Yes, we
as
did.
in a workshop here at Central House.
She had a little presentation. As part of we have like a lunch and learn series that they put on. And it was one of, I think, maybe even the most helpful lunch and learn I've ever attended. And I tend to go to every single one because I just love to learn.
And you love to lunch.
And I love to lunch. But it was just...
Because it's always different to the lunch. It's good.
Well, that's it, And a lot of the time it is kind of interesting stuff that kind of covers, because there's obviously such a wide breadth of like companies in Central House and throughout the Commons. You get all sorts of different perspectives and things happening all the time in the lunch and learns. But certainly this one, I think, was because it was broader, because it was about public speaking and just like confidence and things like that. It was, certainly one of the most widely applicable like topics that has ever been talked about. Anyway,
and
brilliant.
She had lots of people there, and you and the team came back saying that was one of the better.
Oh yeah, it was incredible.
Workshops as well. And I was unfortunate. I was like, oh damn, I missed a good one. And then there's also what the Commons put together is Founders in Common, which is only for those that are actually operating their own business. They're the founder, basically. Every month or so they put a workshop on. The last one was the owner of Carmen's Bars and chocolate and all that kind of stuff. That was amazing too. So I'm like, yep, I'm signing up for the next one. Went there last night, and just before I did, I'm like, you're like, oh, this sounds like, Annalise McCarthy. And I looked it up and it was. And I'm like, oh yeah, let's see how good this was. But it was awesome. Yeah. It was so good. And her models of how you put together your storytelling and how you explain your elevator pitch and how you construct that is so, so cool. And the good thing is she's also confirmed and committed to being on this podcast in about 2 or 3 weeks. Yeah. So, you'll hear more about her. She's got 25,000 people on her Instagram following, lots of engagement. Crazy. Yeah, look her up.
I think she's like won awards for public speaking and all sorts of things, like just incredible history. And I think she was like mute as a child and all this like crazy backstory that just, it's amazing.
Yeah, she came 5th, I think, last year in the speaking contest, world speaking contest. So
wild.
Yeah. She was bubbly and out there, and she must just go home and go, but it was.
I guess some people, I don't know, does she?
Yeah, she's just energetic, and she might be just like full of life.
At that point, because you're so good at public speaking, because that's like her job. Like she probably doesn't get exhausted from it because she knows how to like manage the balance of not making,
We'll see what happens in the podcast next time, and we'll ask her. But,
we'll find out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Let's meet Diego.
You have my curiosity. Now you have my attention.
Mr. Diego.
Jane.
Welcome, Diego.
Thank you
the
for
podcast.
having me.
Yeah.
So Diego is part of our team. You've been part of our team for...
Almost, I would say 4 years.
I thought it was so much longer than that.
Yeah, almost 4.
22 years.
20.
Yeah, that's me. But 4 years. Is it?
I mean, I've been in Australia for 5 years. I'm 4 years working.
That's right. You used to be working with Ali.
I worked with Ali and Connie Shen, for like a couple of weeks. And then, he took me.
Yeah.
Ali nicked you.
Yes.
I'm curious to hear the backstory. Can you provide some more context?
From insights.
Is that allowed?
You were at Now Finance.
No,
We know
finance.
that.
Yeah. That was my second job in Australia as a developer. I worked first for another agency, and then I moved to Now Finance for like 7 months. I met Ali for 10 days, sort of. He was there replacing the technical leader that he left to go to Amazon or something like that. Ali starts. We have probably a couple of meetings there. Then he left. Like suddenly, I was not aware. Like,
Do you know why? Do you know why he left?
I mean, he told me later on. Like, he
just
realized
went,
that everything was
"What?"
a mess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like the main problem there, at least for us, for developers, there were not many technical people handling all the projects. So everything relied on the marketing team, and they were taking kind of like difficult decisions for us to follow. It's like
the equivalent of
deadlines.
like if I was running the
Something
the
like that.
dev team.
And they were
Out of
setting all
touch.
the deadlines and stuff like
that
that.
makes no
and
sense.
It was really difficult for us. I think Ali realized that pretty fast. Give you a buzz.
From my side, Ali had been with us for about 4 or 5 years, and he was now our senior dev. He was great. We used to have this guy called Elliot who's getting married tomorrow. I'm going along, and Elliot let us know that he was finishing up and he was going elsewhere, which was fine. Back then, it was heartbreaking because when you're in a smaller team, people like that are really good at their job. You're like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I'm going to replace blah, blah, blah. Ali stepped up. He was great. Now he's like, our solutions architect basically. And he told me he was leaving. And oh my God, I was devastated. I remember it. And his replacement was absolutely no good. It was terrible. No names mentioned.
Yeah.
But then I remember I got the call from him saying, Jay, can we speak? And I'm like, yes, I hope this is what I think it is. And he came in and he said, yeah, he wants his job back. And I said, what are your terms?
Thank God.
And he went, blah, blah, blah. And I went, do it, sign right now. I want you back tomorrow. And as soon as I'd signed, I walked back into the room and got rid of the other guy. So immediately.
So bad.
And I think everyone else was really happy. And then,
we were not happy in Now Finance because we actually need an architect.
If you can't beat them, join them.
And then I moved to Karratha, like to Western Australia, to do my extension for the visas and stuff. And Ali texted me on LinkedIn, I think, like, hey, are you still looking for a job? Blah, blah. So yeah, why not? And then I think that's how we got the connection with you, Jay, and then we spoke a couple of times when I was there, and then you went until
we sorted out the visa and made sure that all worked out.
And
now here you are.
Like 4 years later, here doing the podcast.
Yeah, doing the podcast, exactly.
Yeah, number 9, I think.
I don't know.
Anyway.
Yeah, 9?
Come on.
9, I think.
9's my favourite number.
Yeah.
I like 8. It's my number.
Oh, really?
Lucky 8. 8's my birthday.
Yeah.
Is 8
Mine
your
as
favourite
well.
number too? Oh, 8's also your birthday.
Yeah, 8 of the 8.
Oh, even better.
On
double
on the
8.
portal.
8.
That's
I told you.
Of
8's
course.
famous.
And you're double Leo.
double Leo, yeah.
Makes sense.
8's like really famous, like lucky.
Lucky
isn't it?
number in
Chinese.
China,
Yeah.
it's very much,
Yeah.
Interesting.
Hopefully it's the number 8 there. I don't know.
Well, maybe.
You can remove one of the...
Delete the last episode. This is now on episode 8.
Yeah.
Fair enough. But yeah, going
goodness.
back, let's. How did you figure out that you wanted to do code?
Well, I didn't realize about that until I was just maybe when I was like 23, 24.
Oh, right.
In uni.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the beginning, I just love sports, so I wanted to go to do something sport related. My dad, he's an engineer, and he told me, "Oh, you should go for like computer science or something like that because that's where the money actually
stable
is."
job.
Yeah, exactly that.
Yeah.
And at least in Argentina, like everything that is related with sports, if you're not a soccer player, the rest is really, really bad, like really bad. So my dad was not really happy about going for. I wanted to be a journalist. Then he told me, give a shot to engineering, see what happened. And start uni. I love it. I really like it, my friends, everything. And then I realized later on in uni that I like coding. I did kind of like a boot camp for a big company back in Argentina. They were doing web development, and that was the first time that I actually learned about how the web world works, GitHub, all like the tools that the developer needs. From them until now, I was like 24, 23. I started just working on front-end development mainly, and I love it.
Good, fantastic. No, and I can't imagine you being a journalist. Can you, Emil?
I cannot imagine myself. So.
No, going out and finding, reporting on things,
No.
deadlines.
I was, young and naive, I would say.
Would be cool though. Like messy,
Imagine with a microphone.
Yeah.
Well, that's if you're a good journalist. If you're
Well,
lucky enough.
It'd be good if you were a soccer journalist because soccer's in your blood.
Yeah, but the thing is, if you know how many soccer journalists are in Argentina, it's so competitive. There's too many people doing it, so it's not
It's hard to stand out, hard to get a good
And is
job.
it here too, where ex-soccer players then become journalists
Exactly,
and then they get all the jobs?
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't need any degree or anything to do it because they are famous already. I'm really happy that I choose to go for this path, and also I'm so glad that I was able to mix the work with other passion, which is traveling. And Jay, I've been traveling a lot since I've been here and still working and be able to work. That was
I'll never forget the
dream.
day where you signed into work and we had a video call and you're in a van or something and you're traveling somewhere to a soccer match. Or, yeah, you've been all over the shop. And so where have you been? I remember you were in Italy, you were in New York. There was a whole range of places that you've been, working remotely. Plus, I think when COVID hit, you fled Australia.
Yeah, and I worked a month from US, then from Mexico, Aruba, Argentina. Then I went to Europe, Spain, Italy, Czech Republic. Yeah, I spent 4 months there, and
incredible,
working a lot. The latest was for the Rugby World Cup when I went with my family, and I was working from the caravan. And that was crazy. Yeah, I think I would not do it there.
But what I loved, you rocked up every day, and you were there for the calls in the morning, and that's why I think you just continue traveling because it worked.
Yeah.
It's not for everyone, but
exactly. It's not for everyone, and I know I have friends that they told me if you're in the beach, you should stay in the beach 24 hours there, and it's look, I need to work. There's a reason why I'm able to be here.
You had that discipline.
Exactly.
And it was amazing. I whenever I go overseas, I'm I'm not bloody working. Just get stuffed and there's. I don't know how you did it, but you did it, and it worked out. So,
dedication.
That's it. So obviously you're from Colombia, no, Argentina.
Yes.
And then why did you choose Australia? Just out of interest.
I chose Australia because my sister, she was here already. She came to Australia 12 years ago, something like that.
Okay.
So
she had good things to say.
A lot of good things. I was looking for a change. I was working after uni. I was a little bit bored about the life in Argentina, and I knew as a developer I would have better chances if I move out. I know some professions, if I'm a lawyer, I know I cannot be a lawyer in Australia, but as a developer should be pretty much the same. So she told me, you should come just for 1 year maybe, give it a shot, try here. Melbourne is nice. You have the Australian Open, F1, all these kind of things.
So you're let's go.
Worst case scenario, I will be here 1 year, and then if things do not work out, I will just coming back to Argentina. And I choose Melbourne, come here. I love it. I really like the city. I like the vibe, the friends, everything. So that's why I stay here, at least for now.
Yeah,
that's the plan. Yeah.
Don't want to hear that. Maybe next year he's off again somewhere. Well, you might be, your life stages. You might be.
You never know.
Getting married or kids or something. Who knows?
Who knows? Yeah.
Who knows? We'll just keep it open there.
Yeah.
So let's talk about a little bit of the code work that you do too. So for those, obviously it's creative in code. What is your stack? What do you prefer to work in?
Yeah. Well, my whole life, since I started working as a web developer, I started with React.js, which is a front-end framework from Facebook. I've been doing that for the last almost 7 years now. So I feel really confident doing it. I know for webs, it's still React, they have a massive community, so it's pretty simple to find different packages to simplify stuff. So it's not I don't need to create a lot of things from scratch. I just go and browse for different libraries, and there's a lot of things there. So that's, it's pretty good that the tech stack that I choose back in that days is still working pretty good and growing. Here in ID, I've been doing front-end in general, React, some other like WordPress projects, a little bit of everything, which is great. I
Do you
love.
prefer that too? You like to broaden your awareness of what's out there?
I feel like I can picture myself as a problem solver, so that's why I like the challenges. So when you work in an agency, it's like you always have like at least some small problems to solve every time, and different technologies, and we get code that is 10 years old, and we need to figure out how to actually refactor everything, and with sometimes really low budget. So as well, like you need to think in a cost-effective solution and stuff like that. So I like that. Maybe I will not do this kind of things like for my whole life, like because I know the dynamic is tiring sometimes. But right now I really enjoyed the challenges.
One of the projects that you've been on lately is the United Petroleum app as well, and it's something that I thought was going to take a long time. It was going to be teething, a lot of issues, especially because it's cross-device as well. It's Android and Apple. And just to give a bit of context too, this is a fuel discount app where basically you sign up online, you get sent an SMS with a verification code. Verification code you put into the app, it connects with your card, your discount, the partner that you're working with, all range of stuff, and then you can just scan it at a petrol station and get a discount. Sounds pretty straightforward, yeah? No, not really. But what was your approach from the front-end perspective? And obviously you've worked with Ali, who we were talking about before, on the back end, and Sheetal and some others. How did you approach it? What was your thoughts?
Because I knew every time that I need to approach any project, the first thing that I need to think is about where or who will be using this app, what will be the context of the app, like how many people, different devices, stuff like that. So that's why we choose to go with something that will save us sometimes, like React Native, which is a framework where it's only for mobile apps, where you build only one code and you can maintain both codes for Android and Apple. Otherwise, you need to build one app for Apple, one app for Android, and you need to maintain both of them. In this particular case, because the app is quite small, in a sense, it's only I would say 3 or 4 screens. It's not too big. We choose that approach, to have only one code for both platforms. And then doing some research, I found out from the official React Native documentation, they recommend to use this new library, which is Expo. Usually the main problem with apps is all the time that takes to setting up your local environment to start building the app. That's taking ages all the time. That was always like that. And Expo, they come with this idea of okay, we have the solution to setting up your environment in 10 minutes. So you just install a couple of libraries on your local environment and you have something up and running in 15, 20 minutes. And I will give a shot on that.
And that's EXPO, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, how it's said. Okay, cool.
And that works actually really, really good. That saves us weeks, I would say. Yeah, because in our experience working with React Native, that's always the main issue, is the time that takes to setting up everything and then create a production build that you will then send to Google or Apple to publish that. With Expo, we found out that process pretty straightforward. I know probably because the app is quite small, it's working pretty well because all requirements are not nothing really crazy.
Yeah.
But for now, really happy about the decision.
I loved how with that, obviously when you're coding, you put it into TestFlight, then TestFlight has to approve it or whatever, and then you provide your users, and it's a process of getting that done. But with Expo, I loved somehow on your command prompt, I think it was, it generated a little QR code. If you've got Expo on your phone, you can then scan that, and then you have an emulator basically of what that looks like, and you can do your testing and everything, so you don't have to go through that in a local structure. It was very cool.
Yeah, with other technologies, it's you need to create kind of a file, which is the actual app, and send that file to a user. You download that file, you install the app, and it's really time consuming. And if you need to show something for testing or just change a couple of things, it's really time consuming. And Expo just create this QR code, you scan it, and you can see every time that I change just one line of code, will auto reflect into the device,
Cool.
which is pretty cool and save us a lot of time with testing.
Compiling and
Mainly on different devices, because you can scan as many devices as you want, and you don't need to create like a virtual devices or all these kind of things, which is always difficult.
With mobile apps as well, the biggest problem with them, it's kind of like when you print something, like a normal printout, like a catalog, you're locked into that. It's the same kind of thing with an app, isn't it? That you release it, you put it on the store, it has to get approved by Apple and now by Google. Google's got an approval process too. Once that gets shipped or sent out, you go, oh, I've made a mistake. It's not that easy just to change like spelling or whatever it is to then resubmit that too. So what other issues can you see are problems with mobile apps at the moment?
Yeah, with mobile apps, mainly the whole range of actual devices that are still outside. It's really difficult to support all the devices from all the iOS, and because you will have like clients with 10 years old devices that they want to access to the app, and you cannot give support to them sometimes, that's probably one of the main things about apps. Then again, like what you mentioned is every time that you actually want to publish a new change, it's taking at least 1 or 2 days. Even if it's only one letter, it's like 1 day to get approved. You need to change the versions. You need to explain what was the change about and stuff like that. So it's really time consuming. That's why, at least with this particular app, we try to handle everything that is content related images from the backend. So every time that we need to change something, content or image, we just change the backend, and we don't need to actually change the front end of the app. And that was way easier and faster for us to do.
I think that's one of the big things at the start too, is that you define what should be controlled or loaded onto the app. But then what are the kind of things that you'll need to adjust and be dynamic as you go? So obviously, a lot of the things that we've got in the back end need to be adjusted: images, banners, fuel discount, little rundels or badges,
offers,
barcodes. Like there's so much stuff that goes into it that you don't like. It's a 5-screen app, but my gosh, there's a lot going on.
Yeah, each screen they have like their own challenges, kind of like iframes, APIs from one place, APIs from other places, the barcode validations, all these kind of things. The OTP as well. There is a lot going on. There's a lot
of services in there, plus tracking and push notifications. Connecting it through to their point of sale system and their head office point of sale. There's a lot. It's amazing that you and Ali and Sheetal and the rest of the team have been able to put that together with limited time. Really, we've only had I think 6 to 8 weeks to complete that, test it, deploy it, and check a whole range of different entities and connections. And so it's a big effort.
It was,
And if you had just your stock standard, what's one of the websites you've enjoyed working on versus like an app like this? I think you enjoyed working on this one too. It was a big challenge.
I really like this one. I love to take ownership of the projects, and to start working from the scratch is the thing that I enjoy the most, because I can decide a lot of things, and that's the best for me at least.
You don't want to take over from Antoine Code, do you? No. I'm just kidding, Antoine. I know he listens, so yeah.
No, Antoine is actually pretty good. I know. The quality of the code is pretty good. I think he will struggle handling my code, but probably other apps that I really enjoy in the past time is Rated, all medical waste, even the Commons portal. I really enjoy working on those kind of apps. Again,
that's a good one to mention too. So right now where we are is Central House, which is a sister brand of the Commons, and then there's Forum and a range of other brands that are coming too. It was really exciting. I loved working on that. Antoine was the designer. You were the coder on that one. Being able to book this podcast space, I did it on the member platform that we built for them, which is exciting. And then the Central House website we did for them, and all the integrations with Salesforce.
Much less complicated build. Like with booking the rooms, is that complicated to set up in comparison to something like the United app? Because
it's way more difficult.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Because the layers, you've got the back end where you're managing all the images and the times, the availability, but that goes into, I think, Salesforce.
Yeah,
Is that what the back end?
they're working on Salesforce. Probably the main thing about, for example, the bookings things is like there is a lot of logic going on about like each branch, they have their own like opening hours, and depending also on your particular membership, you can book like from 9 to 5, or you can book the whole day, or during weekends, or even like holidays. You need to disable public holidays. And those
public holidays was one that came out of nowhere. We're just like, people aren't going to be working, or that's going to be shut. So you can't book for something that you can't get to. But daylight savings is another one.
Saving, that was, and I was overseas.
And
And
we're trying to work it out, and we used a library that didn't have the daylight savings controller in it. And and if the Commons ever go to Queensland, which doesn't have daylight savings, what the hell? That's going to be interesting too. So
many things like that you don't consider, like from a user perspective. When I'm just booking a room,
like
I'm not thinking
basic.
about all the shit that's like happening in the background, but like. Yeah, it's wild to have to build that and actually see.
But I think that's what we're all trying to achieve, is just that seamless user experience. It's just like, I book it, I can turn up, I know it's done, like no dramas. That takes a lot of effort, a lot of time.
Yeah, to get to that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totes.
Crazy.
And at least for me as a developer, that's where I really enjoy like working across different projects, because it's where you actually get the real experience about solving these issues. Otherwise, if I will be working only in one particular project for years, probably I would never understand like those kind of exceptions that I need to be aware of. And I know like the next time that I need to build like a booking system, probably I will be thinking, what happened with daylight savings? What happened with public holidays?
Exactly. You can utilize some of that experience that you've had over time. And even that you've mentioned before, all medical waste too, that's another colossal project that you wouldn't think of. This is basically a pickup booking system that's auto-generated, that is based on service agreements, where their clients, it could be a medical centre or whatever it is, that needs their bins, their medical bins, to be, disposed of and replaced with fresh bins. And these are kind of things, you're in a medical centre, you would never think that there's a service that actually picks these up, replaces the bins. Where does that go? Nobody knows. Gets incinerated sometimes or whatever. But then, there's the drivers. They need to know what route they should go in to be the most efficient. You've got, with their start and end times, what if it's a public holiday? All those things are just things that you've had to think about, aren't they?
So is that something that's going to be made easier in future with like the further developments of the technology or AI or whatever? Or is this it? We've like reached the ceiling of like how easy this is going to be, and then it's just like human intervention?
Great question.
I feel like the coding, like we will get rid of the actual coding and we'll be more...
No, what are you going to do, Diego?
No, because I feel like one thing is... For example, when you use ChatGPT, right? I know, like, you need to know the right questions for ChatGPT to actually work. Yeah. It's not like a ChatGPT will not read your mind and understand what you're actually looking for. That's why you need to have some experience. You need to learn how to actually ask for the correct things and to understand the requirements and stuff like that. And I feel like development will go more to that particular side, where probably we'll have a prompt like even like Copilot, and we will just start like giving instructions to Copilot about, I need this kind of layout with this color, this grid for, mobile with these sizes and stuff like that, rather than actual coding, the
using your voice or whatever to do those prompts. I've seen that. I've seen a bunch of TikToks where that's now possible. It's like, I want to build an app that does this and this and this. Start it off and they present something, and then you're like, I don't like that header. Can you make it a bit thinner and do this? And it's just doing it for you. It's crazy. It's the future, I think. So it's not real, like you said, it's probably not the code anymore. It's probably the commands or the prompts that you're doing and feeding it the right information. It's the same with Photoshop too. Like, you can do regenerative images, or you can take things out of an image, or you can ask it to add things into an image. But if you're not doing it correctly, it's going to give you crap output, basically.
I feel that's where are we going with AI.
Interesting.
And it's the same thing for briefing. Like, if I don't give you a good brief or I don't give you enough thoroughness, obviously you're not going to have the right output. It's pretty much that step come forward now. It's that you're briefing in the code generator, basically. Yeah, it's interesting to see how that'll be how you'll get brand integration and creativeness and animation and things too on that. So something to look forward to. Yeah.
Do you want to do speed round?
Yeah, we want to do speed round.
Speed round.
You don't know what speed round is?
I was not ready for that.
Don't worry.
Oh, really? Clearly, you haven't listened to the podcast.
Oh, many times.
I mean, all right, you've never got to the end, evidently.
Yeah, well, could be.
Every guest, we do a speed round.
Yep.
Where you have to answer. I mean, you don't necessarily have to answer fast.
Okay.
But you can.
It is
provide
called
some-
speed
It's called
round.
speed round, but it's more. You can provide the additional context if you so desire.
We might come back to some of your answers. We'll see. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Here we go.
Creative or code?
Creative.
What?
Off to a bad start. Favorite design tool?
Design
Code
tool.
Let's say code tool.
Code tool.
Well, I'm just using Visual Studio, so I will go with that.
What's your favorite website?
But from the ones that I actually build, or like
Anything in
I
the
guess it could
world.
be anything.
Anything.
You could use this as an opportunity to plug a website you've built, or you could.
Well, it's probably the soccer news
Yeah.
website. I don't know.
Bessie.com.
website. That's a good one.
No dodgy ones.
No, okay. I don't know. Haven't think about it.
Jeez, this speed round's not really speedy. is it?
Yeah.
We can come back to that
Okay,
one.
yeah.
What's one that you access a lot?
What's the first website?
Well, social media for sure, and then news.
News. Okay.
Yeah. DH.
What is it?
The
DH
Age?
News.
Yeah.
Wait, what is it? Oh, The Age. I think
Yeah.
it said
Yeah,
DH. I was like, oh yeah,
follow that
Diego
sometimes.
News. The Age. How many hours per week do you work?
Hours per week,
Yeah.
4-ish.
4 hours?
40.
ish.
What's the first app you open every day?
I have an app that is a to-do list, which is any dot do something like that. Yeah, that's the first one. Yeah, we
Get
don't-
up and get prepared. Think about the day. I like
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
Very
Yeah,
organized. Coffee or tea?
coffee.
What about what's the tea from Argentina that you
Oh,
drink?
mate.
Yeah, mate.
Yeah, no, mate over coffee.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Do you still have it daily or do you?
No, during weekends, if I'm working from home, I will have it daily. I should start bringing my own here. But yeah, no.
Does your girl like it too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Everyone in Argentina. It's like
Yeah.
really strange to find someone that is not actually drinking mate.
Interesting. Dark mode or light mode?
Dark mode.
Mac or PC?
Mac now.
What about Android or iPhone?
Android.
The sole Android user. Actually, that's not true. One of a couple of Android
Yeah.
users.
Yeah.
I feel like just a little plug there.
Who
if you
else?
watch any United videos and there's an Android in it, that's Diego's
Diego's.
phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's you, Sheetal.
Oh, is
That's
she
it.
an Android
She's
user?
Android user.
Oh, that's why we get
That's-
along.
Yeah.
Android sticks together.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. We already did Mac. Work from home or work from office?
Depends the day, but if I just need to choose one, I would choose the office.
Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Favorite font?
Arial.
I like how you say it too. Ariel.
I'm like in The Little Mermaid when the crab's singing the song and he's
Ariel.
like, Ariel.
Ariel.
Yeah. that's
It's
what
kind of
sounds like.
Spanish as well, right?
Oh,
Okay, so-
yeah, I think, he's like Jamaican or something.
okay, yeah.
I don't know who voiced
What's the name? It's not
Little crab.
No, Sebastian.
Sebastian? Or is he the seagull?
I don't know.
I don't know.
You should
No,
know.
that's Scuttle. I
Okay.
think it is Sebastian.
Sebastian. Okay.
Anyway, that's off track.
Yep.
Design or spec?
Spec.
What's your favorite snack while working?
You don't snack, do you?
No.
You just bring your meatballs, your pasta.
I have my meatballs, pasta, my cereal. I've been eating.
I had
a lot
cereal
of-
for lunch today. I couldn't bother going out.
Oh,
Yogurt.
very nice. Very
Yogurt
nice.
and cereal. Yeah.
What about the lollipop? That's been,
Oh,
I think.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
No?
Once
I
every 2 or
try
3
to
days.
avoid. I try to avoid that. Yeah.
Pineapple on pizza.
Yes.
We like you.
Nice. Yeah. Summer or winter?
Summer.
City or country?
City.
And the final question. Would you rather time travel into the past or into the future?
Future.
And why?
Um.
And how far into the future?
He wants to see if he's got a job in coding still, probably.
Yes. Yeah, like 2 years to check if I got my citizenship or not.
Then you could come back. I like that idea. Then you could cut your losses if you go, well,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm going to get rejected anyway.
I will take different decisions from now on.
And where do you see your career going? Do you see it still in code, or do you kind of can foresee where your career might take you?
I feel like, because coming back to what we just talk about the AI and everything, I feel like probably I will be doing less coding and more managing or maybe just choosing different architectures or stuff like that, more than actual doing the coding.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice one.
Well, that is the end of the speed round.
Woohoo! Did I pass? Like,
There's not
what's
really a
my
score.
score?
I was amazed.
That's
You
a good
said,
point, actually.
what was it, creative or code? And you went creative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I prefer, well, if I need to choose, I prefer to have like the creating part, or at least like the freedom to...
Yeah, that's probably why you're a front-end developer as well. It's like you like the pretty things versus the dark and dingy
Yes.
back-end.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Makes sense.
If you were going to be a coder, Emily, what would you be? Would you be front or back, do you think?
Come on.
I mean, I feel like I'm already a WordPress expert. I practically am a
Front-end then.
developer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be a front end. Just because sometimes I sit next to Sheetal and sometimes they glance over at a screen and there's
And
just
she's got like
all these
4 black
code.
screens.
And I'm like,
And they're all running like, what was that movie?
yeah, it's like the Matrix. Like, look, that's what it
Swordfish?
looks
Have
like,
you seen
yeah.
Swordfish with
No.
John Travolta and Hugh Jackman? It's pretty good. He's got like 12 screens and they're all doing
Okay.
everything.
That's what Sheetal's screen looked like.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
terrifying. So there's no way I would get
Yeah, I
involved
look
in
at it
that.
and I'm like, how is that making what we need?
Yeah.
She could be ordering like online pizza.
Exactly. Who knows? Yeah. Whereas front end makes more sense to me. Not a lot of
Whereas
sense, but a little bit more.
Choosing colors, drag
Yeah,
and drop
exactly.
stuff.
That's
It's just-
fine. Choosing colors. I know how to go to the inspect tool. I feel like that's all I need to know.
Wow,
I know.
I'm
Like
impressed.
pretty much
Inspect
full
tool, yeah.
stack. What can I say? Yeah.
Thanks, Diego.
Yes, thank
It's
you.
been
Very helpful.
insightful. A lot of the things I didn't even know.
Thanks for tuning in to the Creative and Code podcast.
That's all, folks.
We hope you enjoyed this episode and found it as inspiring and entertaining as we did. Remember, there are plenty more episodes to explore, so make sure you keep listening for more creative insights and coding tips. A big shout out to our amazing sponsors and the team at ID Digital Agency for making this podcast possible. Got a story to share or want to be a guest on our show? We'd love to hear from you. Send us a 2-minute or less audio clip to creativeandcode@iddigital.com.au. Suggestions, ideas, or just want to say hi, we're all ears. Thanks again for listening. Until next time, stay creative and keep coding.